in many ways, 2025 was a year of violence.
Yeah.
No, we are not waiting anymore. It's this. Na inalipuka na inaenda kabisa. One of my biggest, proudest win this year has been to see through a new initiative that we started in Dada Power last year.
This is the year that I've known that I do well with convening people. I do well with creating a certain vibe.
I feel that it's important to also know that there's more to life than just work.
This is the first year where I've started now actively telling myself my life needs to stop revolving around work.
I actually wrote, this year I will stop all this busyness to enjoy God's creation.
Yeah, we shouldn't be fixated on even, let's say, work and that being our only happiness, because that's not healthy.
I left Brazil feeling that, yeah, the feminist space is where I belong. This is where I really, really want to be.
Traveling is important. I feel like traveling is a part of education, honestly.
Yeah, we are so far from decolonizing ourselves. Yet we need to, be more independent.
Right now, our world is very capitalistic that we forget the humanity of it all and we forget the joy in meeting people.
But without Raila, we wouldn't have formidable women like we have in our bad girl, Millie.
Yeah.
She was nominated by his party, Crystal.
Actually, most of them,
a lot of progressive women. $2025, what a year. The year of many transitions, the year of many shifts, the year of funding, landscapes changing, the year of change. So many things can be said about 2025. And so we are here to talk about it today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of the Journey and Fields podcast. My name is Stella.
And my name is Mwende. And as Stella has said, we are going to be reflecting upon 2025, what the year has been. And, we hope to have a joyous episode. And perhaps just as we start off, Stella, I will ask you a question.
Yeah.
How has your year been in summary? If you were to describe your year in one word, what would that be?
Oh, one word. I think it would be, can I use two words?
Yes, please. I mean, set the exam for yourself. Why not?
Yeah, my two words would be, but God.
Oh, wow.
And then exclamation mark.
Oh, I love that.
Actually, if it was not that I know God and I know who I am in Christ and who God is in my life, it would have been where, But my words are, but God.
Yeah.
What's your one word or two
Mine,
words?
I was just going to say, the year has been kind to me. So my word would have been kind, because I feel like 2024, 2023, 2022 were all like weh type of years. Yeah. But this year, at least, I feel like it's been a bit better. No matter what challenges I have faced, I think I've been ready to face them. And that has been, a good thing. So the year has generally felt kinder, calmer, nicer. Yeah, it's almost felt like, this is where I live. Like life is not about, challenges, problems and worrying. And that's the first time I have felt like that in a very long time.
I love that. Yeah. There's a quote that says, life is not happening to me. Life is responding to me. And I feel like that's what you mean.
Yeah.
What do you think contributed to you feeling like that about 2025? Like, unlike the other past 2-3 years?
I think maybe trusting myself more, which led to less overthinking, has just greatly improved things, because sometimes I don't sit now and wallow with things. It's like, this has happened. We need to solve the situation. Let's do A and B.
Right.
Because now some things that would take so much of my energy, my time, drain me is worrying, okay, if I do A, it doesn't work out. If I do B. But I think just trusting myself more, and even just what you've said, just accepting that, this life, in fact, one thing this year I started telling myself is that you're put in life to experience it. Like, for example, the day that you meet face to face with God and he tells you, I gave you X number of years, what did you do with them? Yeah, this year I told myself, hey, I need to be able to answer that question, and him not tell me, but I saw you doing this. I saw you not doing this. I saw you, overthinking this. I saw you not take these opportunities. I saw you just exist. Like I saw you it looked like you were just floating through until it was your time to leave the earth. So I think that contributes to part of the reason why maybe this year has been a bit better.
Yeah. I feel like if God was to take us today, the one thing we would dance and be happy about together is this podcast. Because every year after year, 2024 vision board podcast, 2025 vision board, 2023, and it's happened. And that's amazing. Yeah.
In fact, one of the good things we did for ourselves was that lunch that we had on 31st. Because I remember us telling ourselves, surely
we can do better.
We cannot meet again this December over the same thing. Let's do it, even if we are the only ones who will watch it. Let's at least do it, because if we do it, we'll be closer to realizing maybe we don't like it, rather than living your life 6 years wanting to do something and then you never try. And maybe it could be the best thing that happened to you, or it could also be your opportunity to be like, actually never again.
When that photo pops all the time. What are those photo pops called?
The ones for the end of the year.
No, the ones that come every day. Every day you have a photo pop on
the
screen.
memories.
Those memories. When it pops, I'm like, look at us. Remember this day. It's really hard to forget that day. Yes, I'm so proud of us. Cheers to us.
Cheers to us, for real. Mm-hmm.
What's one personal win that you would say definitely will go down in history as a key moment of your life in 2025? And I know it's very hard to narrow down to one, but what is the one thing that really sets your soul on fire just thinking about it?
I think this year I can say I've been a bit more present mentally in everything that I've been doing. I mean, work-wise, there's been just so many opportunities and things that have challenged me, and I've enjoyed those challenges. I don't want to call it a pet project, but I mean, you attended the last event of something that I've been doing for 2 years, and I feel like for quite a while, it used to feel like extra work, because it's something that I do aligned to work, but it's not like my day-to-day job. But then this year it felt more like, actually, this is what I love doing. I think I love, if I was not to do what I do, maybe I would have done like some hosting type of, Nasi hosting like Vera Sidika in the Club guys. But I think I would have done like things where I'm bringing people together. I don't know, curating events, not weddings, because those ones I will fail you as a bride, my friend.
I think
I'm not the most curated. I'm not the most creative person. But
I think you are.
Yeah,
but go on. I'll
or maybe
tell you
my creativity ni kwa mdomo bas.
No, I think you're such a good host and convener.
So I think then this is what I would really do, because I really, really enjoy that. In fact, I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and she was telling me, you were there. The Christmas thing that I like to host. They were like, you didn't host one last year. You're going to host another this year.
Pressure.
I not to see pressure. Imagine I enjoy doing it. Actually, the things that I worry about is whether people are available, because I've not planned it in advance. But best believe I'm still doing it this year. And so
looking forward.
That has been like one of the major things that I've realized this year. I think I have known, like, where the way someone tells you what's the one skill that you know how to do. I think that this is the year that I've known that I do well with convening people. I do well with creating a certain vibe. And that's a very, very big win, because sometimes you ask yourself, what's your purpose in life? And of course, I'm not saying that this is my purpose, but at least I'm feeling like now when someone asks me, what do you enjoy doing most? I have things that I can say, because I used to struggle with answering those kind of questions.
So first of all, well done for a successful event. It was my first time witnessing you in such a space. And the fact that you brought together, those are very powerful women, by the way. Well done. And I think you're a good curator, by the way.
So by the way,
you. But
flowers.
It's good to acknowledge and accept what you love, and the fact that you do it well. And well done. I loved it, and I'm so proud of you.
Sorry, I'm clapping right where the mic is.
I give you flowers. Please accept the flowers.
And what would you say that is for you as well?
For me, one of my biggest, proudest win this year has been to see through a new initiative that we started in Dada Power last year. And we did it without, like the conventional funding. We started it last year in November, and we just reached out to personal friends to say, we have this thing coming up. We have young women who are first-time workers, and some are in learning institutions. We feel that it's important for them to learn how to navigate the world of work, but we don't have money. This is our starting budget. Please, could you share with us what you have and all that? And honestly, one of the lessons, and I know we'll come to lessons, will be that just do what you have, what you want to do, and what you feel convicted you need to do with what you have, and don't shy away from reaching out to people. We've gotten so much support. And that to me is one of the best things that has happened in my life. I've felt that I've lived in my purpose. I am extending my strengths and my abilities and my talents to people that need it most. And I have seen a lot of support from my community and from my people. It was the first time I was actually telling my own sisters, please, could you contribute to the work that I do? They were like, yeah, of course, Yeah, so I now know that people just need to be told what's happening. But yeah, reaching 22 young women from Oranga, from other parts of the country, and just seeing them learn and they're being challenged to live the best versions of themselves has been so fulfilling, and I'm just so motivated to continue doing it as my way of giving back.
Oh wow, I love that. Yeah. I really, really love that, because I mean, I've seen the journey of you starting the organization, and I know how much you keep telling me that this is not something that I really want to ever let go, and I want it to continue growing, and even just to have a full circle moment where you can talk about it, and being able to even do it without the resources. Congratulations, and a good job, and keep at it, and I'm sure next year it will be bigger and better. And let me tell you, if you need more and more people to contribute, just say the word, we will ask our networks. You, if you're watching this and you're my friend, and I come to you and I tell you we need you.
We need some
show up.
Support,
show up. True, and it's also because I just acknowledge how sometimes there's some things that you just have to experience in life for you to know. And there's some things that you will figure out quicker if someone shares their experience.
Absolutely,
when I imagine if I was younger, if I could hear more and more people even talking about things like dating and like, this is when this is a red flag and whatever, maybe we would not have had to learn about some of those things the hard way. But leave alone even that, some things like, in your career, this is just how you prioritize yourself, because I think that's one thing that I intended to talk about today, because something else for me that has happened this year is also feeling like this is the first year where I've started now actively telling myself my life needs to stop revolving around work. Because I think ever since the first day I started working, my life has always revolved around work. And this year I was like, no, I want to take a break. I will take a break. I must do this. I want to read more books. I will read books, because I realized a lot of the things that I wanted to do for myself, the excuse was always, I'm just exhausted. Like, there's a lot happening with work and you barely have energy. So half of the time it used to be like, the free time that I would have, I'm in bed, honestly. Me, I told you guys, I'm just the kind of person to chill in bed. Like, I just want to watch a movie with my snacks and all that. So there's so many even things that friends were doing that sometimes I just couldn't attend. Yeah, probably I'm physically exhausted. I want to show up, but I'm just like, work has really like taken over my life. And this year I told myself I will do it, even if I am exhausted, even if there's a lot of work that is happening, and I will learn how to pace myself. And I think that has also been because I've listened to the experience of others. This conversation, I think you were also part of when my sister talked about it, because she was saying that for her at her age now, if there's something that should have done better like in her earlier years, she would have just reminded herself that she's an individual that exists outside of her career. And that was like, a very good lesson that I picked on. And I was like, by the way, I have to carry this and carry it with a lot of weight.
Yeah. And you speak for me as well. For the longest, I've always given too much to work. And it's not just about what's expected of me at work. It's also me enabling that, you think that your existence from Monday to Monday is really about work and everything needs to be done, all the deadlines, and deadlines need to be covered. But I feel that it's important to also know that there's more to life than just work. And if today, one thing that these funding shifts have shown us is, you can build a career for over 10, 20 years, for like 3 decades. And that could also be stopped abruptly, like without you ever planning. And so what will be your identity after you lose that job? Or if that job is taken away from you, anything can happen. What would you say about yourself? Yeah. And I began to think about things that, can help me rethink how I do things, how I plan myself, how I organize myself, how I allocate my time. And it's really changed me. And the thing is, I've had some people say, we can start to see like you're a bit lively and cheerful. And it's something that I never thought would happen. And just the other day, me and my friend were attending our meeting together and they were like, no, you need to live a bit. Just live a bit. Like, true. I need to live a bit. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I like that as well. And just based on that conversation that we've just had, what would you say was like one of the toughest realizations you came to this year?
It's tied to that. It's tied to work. Yeah, it's tied to, I don't know about having my identity around work, but not having a life, always worrying about, I need to do this. I need to do this. We need to be in a forum. And the other day I traveled and I was not working. I was on leave and I was feeling so unlike myself, out of character because I didn't carry my laptop. I just carried my device to watch my movies and have fun. It's when I went to Botswana and to attend the meeting that I was attending. And then I extended my travel days so that like I get to see the country and mingle with the people and all that. And I was like, wow. So am I running away from something that I'm always working? I'm at a conference, I'm in a meeting, but I am not present. And that's one of the things, that's one of the resolutions that I wrote beginning of this year. I said, I want to be present. And I want to stop busyness. Like I am so busy. I actually wrote this year, I will stop all this busyness to enjoy God's creation. And let me tell you, Mwende, I have experienced the most amazing people. I have experienced the most beautiful sceneries I've ever seen in my life. And maybe I couldn't see them if I was busy. After a meeting, I'm running to respond to an email. The thing is, you don't have to respond to all emails at the same time on the same day that they were sent, Yeah, so what was the question?
The question is your toughest or biggest realization this year.
Yeah, the biggest realization early in the year, for Q1. And that's why I took that retreat away in the coast to just find myself was, I don't have a life. Literally, I have no life. I go from work to my place and the meetings I have to go. And I really was trying to be there in my communities. I'll be there with my family when there are events and all that. But really thinking about it, I think I wasn't present. And I am starting to trace where that's coming from. I think it's trauma response, to be honest. Literally, I remember during my graduation for undergrad, you were there.
Yeah.
When my sister, Yuma, stood and gave her speech, she wrote it. And she said, sometimes remember to stop and breathe. I was 23 years old, but my own sister had seen that I don't have a life. And trust you me, since being 23, up until like 1 year or a few months ago, I think I was still not living life to the fullest. I wasn't living life in abundance like God would want me to. And it's because of constantly worrying, what if I don't do this? What if this happens? You know what? It will happen. Can you chill, sis? Chill, yeah. That was the hardest realization. And it hit me hard. It hit me hard, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I honestly, first of all, I love that reflection because I have never had a busier friend. She has said it herself. At least umejisema. This girl, you'll call her even on a Saturday, I'm in what meeting? I'm like, Saturday. But this Stella is not the person you will call randomly and be like, let's go for lunch. Hey, she has like
Okay, that's changing.
No,
that's changing.
it's
But
changing, but it's true though.
Yeah, true.
It's true. She was not the kind of person you'd be like, oh, unafanya, let's go have lunch. Hey, I have this thing that I'm attending, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but I like that at least you've recognized that, because it's never too late. I mean, if there's any time to have realized that, it's now, and you realized it earlier anyway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2026 being a bit more present and enjoying life, and just seeing things happen for you.
Yeah, I think for you.
Yeah, for me, in some ways, the outcome of it still remains similar to yours about living life. But something happened this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, time has really moved. So I'd created like a Gmail account for my dad, and I mean, he passed away 3 years ago, and I got the notification from Gmail that his account, there's not been activity, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to close. Okay, well, whatever they normally say. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually been 3 years. And if you asked me when I lost my dad, I would not have said that it was 3 years ago. Like, in some ways, it feels like it was just the other day, but in some ways, it also feels like it was such a long time ago. But when I saw that prompt, I was like, hey, time really flies. And I asked myself, what have I been doing since then in those 3 years? And I think just that reflection reminded me, yeah, for sure, like 3 years is a lot of time to not have, let's say, been living your life. And that's kind of what I kept reminding myself from it. It was like, by the way, time is really flying. I don't have time in this world to say, I'll do this. When I grow up, I'll be when I grow up, I'll be a doctor. When I grow up, I'll be more present. When I grow up, I'll take a break. There's no time. First of all, now I'm grown up, because I think when I was saying those things when I was younger, it was, I envisioned myself in this age doing those things. So it was just a reminder that, time flies a lot, and the time that has gone is time that is lost. Like, I mean, if I wanted to talk to my dad, I can't talk to him. I'm just glad that there's videos here and there that we took, because at some point I realized I'm even starting to forget his voice. So just sort of sitting in that and realizing all of that. It just reminded me that for sure I need to at least try and live my life, because that time is never going to be recovered. And even like when I look at my dad and the legacy that he left, I mean, that's it. He's passed away, and what is left of him is his legacy. Whatever moments he took and enjoyed, he left with. Whatever regrets he might have had, he left with. So, just that reminder that, by the way, I'm not Methuselah, I will not be here forever. Right. It's to make good use of, as you said, God's creation, similarly in some ways, make good use of what God has given me in terms of time, in terms of opportunities, and in terms of the fact that he put us on earth to enjoy life. He didn't put us on earth to be like, wacha waende wateseke. He actually put us on life to really enjoy life. Even when you look at what the Bible says, it's that he gifted us all of these creations. He gifted us capabilities, so that you can live life rather than, wallow. So those are the things that now have sort of helped me start seeing the cup more and more as half full, because I think I was more of a half empty type of person in this life, and which led to a lot of worrying, which led to, just living more on, like, when they say flight or fight mode, I think I was living more on both. And actually, I just want to be able to relax and just, respond when it's appropriate, rather than respond because there's a trigger to respond, or my body is wired to just fear. And that has really helped me, because, I mean, I told you guys how, for example, a cop stopped me today, and I was nervous about something, but like, I just told myself, what, it's okay, I've been caught, whatevs, let's see. And weirdly enough, he actually thought he confused me for someone else, because he said, oh, I thought it was someone else, nilikuwa nataka kusalimia rafiki. And I was like, by the way, imagine now if I had started panicking, my heart is now skipping a beat, given myself anxiety in that short time between stopping him walking to the car, just given myself too much stress and pressure for those like 3 minutes. Right, what for? And either way, I'm already here, I'm in this situation. So I just need to be calm and just, accept and respond in whatever way necessary as needed. So just feeling more content and feeling like, there's more good things than bad things.
Oh, can I? Honestly, even though it's been 3 years, I know you look at it as a long time. I just want you to know that I extend you lots of grace and hugs, because to lose your dad, I know, was not easy. And I know you are so close. I mean, I also remember some moments when we spent together, and so also extend yourself grace, because that time of grief is also a very important season in your life. So that it hit you like that. Remember to extend yourself grace. It's really important. Yeah. Okay, something linked to that. What has 2025 taught you about yourself?
Wow. 2025 has taught me that I'm actually more of a it's never that serious type of person. And I think because now I've tried to deal with a lot of things that were either also physically affecting my life, it's really helped, because now I take things as, okay, this has to happen. It's serious, but it's also not that serious. So the only thing that I can do is do my best. And I think that's the lesson that I needed. That's honestly the lesson that I needed. And that applies across all platforms, whether it's work, whether it's, everything. Because, for me, the work that I do, it's very partnership focused or people focused. I work a lot with people, and sometimes, actually, most times you really have to place the needs of the people that you're working with or serving at the core. And I think me telling myself, just do your best and do what you can, and don't worry about what you can't do. It was very important, because sometimes people, they need a lot in terms of like, let's say, there might be something that they need that might be easy for me to have, but sometimes I don't have it. And sometimes it's like, I need a resource. Do you know so-and-so that you can connect me to? And I don't have it. And sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do more. I wish I could do more. So, I mean, just small things like that, like work-wise, I know, what, where I possibly can, I will. And it's okay if I can't. And what I need to do is, I know, okay, this is something that is important to me. So let me build the capacity to be able to do it, rather than start feeling like I'm inadequate because I'm not able to do something. So that's just like one of the biggest lessons that cuts across, even as a person, even with friendships. I tell myself, you know what, I'm doing the best that I can. As long as I'm learning, I'm challenging myself, I'm thinking ahead, well and good, and I'm trying to place the needs of the other person at the core and do my best within that limit of what I think they need. So everything, even with family, with whatever, all those things. So just accepting and acknowledging that I'm doing my best, and that it's okay to just do your best. You don't have to bend over backwards if you can't, if it's not something that you can do.
For me, it's I'm just a girl. I'm really just a girl.
Mini baby girl.
I think I have lived such a hard life in the last couple of years. Now it's time for me to be a soft girl, and acknowledging first that I have enabled so many things, because I am in control of the things in my life. And then reminding myself that I don't have to fix everything. By the way, Jesus Christ died on the cross for you and I to live freely. And so to carry people's burdens, whether they are loved ones in my life or even acquaintances or friends, you can't carry everybody's burdens. And that's okay, Stella. You're just a girl. And that really shifted how I started to see things in from quarter one. There's so many things that I am unlearning. There's so many things I'm unlearning about how it matters to me, or how it used to matter to me that everybody is okay. Are you okay? Are you okay? Umati wa watu, are you okay? And then now I will be okay. So now it's starting with me. I can't pour from an empty cup. So am I okay first? What capacity do I have to be able to show up for other spaces? And if I don't have the capacity to show up for other spaces, I choose to show up for myself. And the moments to breathe are so important. Rest is part of the resistance. And if we say, for what is revolution without dance? And if I am not posing to just enjoy the moment, just be here, stop with the busyness. Why am I struggling with anxiety? Do I really know who I am? Do I know that I am known? I was known before I was born, literally. So do I know that I matter, that I am loved, that I am seen? And do I see myself? And just reflecting on all those things, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl.
True, you are, by the way, for real.
Yeah. It's really been so liberating knowing that there's only so much you can do within 24 hours, and 8 of those 24 hours are for sleeping. So literally, I have 16 hours to think about the things that I can do, and I can't fix everything. Nobody really can, and yeah, so I love it here. I love it here. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I love that. And I think my other question, because we are looking at the year as a whole, what events, and they don't have to be like personal, what things maybe, even if it's an observation from things that are happening in the world, in Kenya, wherever, what are those things that you've seen happen that you think are like, oh my gosh, these are major highlights that that really stood out to you generally? Yeah.
A couple actually. One of them is when I went to Brazil in May, and it was a feminist convening. Like we say feminist, but now this one was feminist, where you burn candles for your own wellness. You meet people and you're reminded of what really it means to be a liberated woman. First of all, the culture in Brazil is so body positive. Me and my friends, we came back saying, hey, did we do my dress, my choice in Kenya? Because, people dress how they want. Like, people are free to be themselves. And it's so progressive, so liberating. But when we were there, we visited a women's center for women who built just a women's space. And it's old women. It's not young women, old women. And it was just a space for them to come together and talk about their own rights, their political rights, their freedoms, bodily autonomy. And my highlight, I'll share one of the photos. My highlight from that conversation, we were asking them, what makes you happy? Like, what makes you who you are, and why do you keep showing up? And and they said, when we come to this space, we feel like ourselves. We built this place, we used to finish, and then because the political space back then in Brazil for women was not as open as it is now, and it's still like work in progress, they would lock themselves up, have conversations, sing, and then enjoy beer. And for me, I felt that, this is really what women like. It's that they have safe spaces for themselves, not for anybody else, just to show up as they want, to do the things that set their souls on fire. I left Brazil feeling that, the feminist space is where I belong. This is where I really, really want to be. And these are the kind of conversations that I want to have in my own personal space. Yeah, and the other one has been what I just spoke about, the program that we have for Dada Power, and seeing, okay, so I know I am a young woman, but there are younger women, and then seeing them take up space and the conversations that they have about freedom and liberation and emancipation, and how we need to get out of our minds and know that, we are what we've been waiting for, and we have what it takes to do the things that we want to do. Yeah. So for me, it's been women's spaces, and seeing how much we can even connect now, just because of the internet. But
okay.
Yeah, the different spaces for women that have been this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yourself?
Yeah, I love that. You've talked about you've talked about the way that they're so centered in their culture, and just seeing people just live freely, and wow, it's just a reminder we really need to. Traveling is important. I feel like traveling is a part of education. Honestly, you get to realize that actually you're not living in this world alone. We Kenyans are not here alone. The world is not just us. There's a lot more happening out there. Yeah, so it's a challenge to us to try and. Surely everybody that can afford it, go to a different city, go to a different town, go to a different country when you can afford it. Your life will be very, very different. In fact, me, if I had like a younger sister, one of the things that I would tell her is, imagine go live in that other country, even if it's for 6 months. If you can, go live in a different city. Like, you see life in a very, very different angle. Yeah.
And you, what
well,
events
mine are
shaped
very different. I don't want to say that it's events that shaped me particularly, but I think it's just events that I feel like were notable. And unfortunately, they're both related to politics.
Yeah.
One of them is Raila dying.
Oops, yeah.
Just because I really don't think that Kenya, we lived in a world where we thought Raila would ever die. And I'm so curious to just see what opposition now looks like. Because that man brought a lot of, he had his pros, he has his cons. But one thing you can say about him is he brought a lot of even life into the way they did their politics.
Yeah.
I mean, to date, we still remember NASA, I mean, you still remember, just those small things. We still remember him swearing himself in. Imagine the audacity that he had to be able to swear, himself in. We still remember the number of times, he challenged things. And, I'm not going to lie, when he died for a moment there, I felt like as a country, we have been abandoned. Because part of the reason maybe you never even know, part of the reason maybe we felt confident in that we will end up okay is, we have Raila who will probably not, I mean, he allowed for some things to happen, but it's also, at least we have him. Like if it gets so bad,
we have him.
If it's a constitutional matter, he will speak out against it and he'll be there for us. But I'm also just keen to, see now what opposition ends up looking like, because again, he was opposition for a very long time. And just even seeing what the party ends up doing, how Kenyans end up reacting to this, what happens in 2027, what opposition in 2027 will look like in the context of the elections. Yeah, I'm keen to see all of that. And the second event, which now just happened recently, was, I think now we alluded to it in the other episode, but just Mamdani becoming mayor and, then you're seeing all these things of how he even had a song. Yeah, you're seeing how, he has a wife who has such a huge presence that is so unique. He's just a young person. He's there dancing with people in the club. I mean, I want to see more and more leaders like that. I want to see more and more leaders who bring out that I'm still a human being. I want to see more and more leaders who just live life truly. And I'm looking at his journey. I'm watching him. I hope that he does not disappoint the world, because at this point it's the world. But yeah, I'm really, really watching that because I think that's going to be a huge lesson for a lot of young people around the world. Yeah. And just in passing, of course, the things that happened with USA, because this happened at the beginning of this year, they've really affected the space in some ways. I mean, I really want to see what our healthcare system ends up looking like once we stabilize, of course, because I know right now we're still dealing with the effects of the lack of that funding. But I think because you've just mentioned this, like a lot of people lost their jobs, and something that I've loved seeing, the people that I'm surrounded by that have lost their jobs, I've loved seeing them say, you know what, even this has happened, this is not the end of my life. It's not, now I'm starting to live my life, because my life was, let's say, based on work. And I think it's just very encouraging. And it's very encouraging to know that, some of these things could happen, but imagine you'll be okay. And for everyone who was affected by that in whatever way, whether you are affected in terms of access to a service, whether you are affected in terms of like
loss of income,
you've lost your job, or even maybe if you were part of a program that was funded in whatever way through the different avenues of funding that were coming in, I hope that everyone lands well and that they get back to a status of equilibrium. But I wish everyone all the best. For those people that are looking for jobs, people keep saying, oh, the job market is saturated, but best believe when an opportunity is for you, it is for you. When an opportunity is for you, it's definitely for you. Yeah. And for the rest of us, let it be a lesson, like you mentioned, that you cannot be heavily dependent on one thing. The way we are normally told, have 7 sources of income. You don't have to, by the way. I mean, honestly, because who decided it has to be seven sources? Maybe you'll have 2 and it's 2 good ones. But also it's just keep asking yourself, if I'm not doing what I'm currently doing, what is my fallback plan? Yeah. And it's not just about, let's say, income. It's also just about your happiness in life. Don't let your happiness be tied to one specific thing in life, because I guess that's why we even, when people talk about addiction, let's say to drugs or whatever else, like your happiness is really dependent on you getting that thing. And yeah, we shouldn't be fixated on even, let's say, work and that being our only happiness, because that's not healthy.
Yeah. There are a couple of things that I want to comment on that. And to first say that we hold space for everyone who also, we know that organizations were shut because of this donor funding shifts. And perhaps it was time for our sector, this nonprofit sector, to reset. It was like a pandemic, really, in our sector, to ask ourselves, what exactly are we doing? And is it making sense for how we run our systems?
Yeah.
To depend fully on external funding, and to know that overnight, without any justification, we can lose funding.
Yeah.
And then now it's subject to conversations or a bit of mercy here and there. What does that say about our continent? And I'm not removing myself from that conversation. Like, yeah, just knowing how the sector is designed, that we have to always depend heavily on external funding, is quite telling about the kind of systems that we are running. And I'm not saying that entirely. The conversation about aid is very political.
Yeah.
I am a believer of reparations. I believe that we do not just get aid for free. There's a lot that happens in the world of aid. And so we must not have conversations on aid by just saying that Africa is taking.
Yeah.
To be honest, a lot is taken away from Africa as well. And we really do not get to talk about that. So I'm just saying that perhaps it was just a reset.
Yeah.
About Raila, he is the most consequential politician that we have in Kenya. And I say is because, I mean, his story, his legacy is still very much alive. And I haven't seen, even past presidents, people going to pay tribute weeks after. Do you know, I know somebody who is going to pay tribute this December, 1st December. Like, ameshapanga amesema, 1st December, I'm driving all the way to go and pay my tribute. That's very, very, it's historic. It's historic, But without Raila, we wouldn't have formidable women like we have in our bad girl, Millie.
Yeah.
Because she was nominated by his party. Crystal.
Actually, most of them,
a lot of progressive women. We wouldn't even think about a possible first deputy president of Kenya without thinking about Raila, a woman first deputy president, because that's how Martha Karua was possibly going to be the first female deputy president. And so I am now starting to ask myself, have we documented enough about him? His role in the women's movement, for instance. I read Millie Odhiambo's book, and he's given like her forward, and he's spoken about why it's important to support women in politics. I mean, he was such a figure. And what I was saying, like, he was the face behind what everybody was hiding when it comes to petitioning elections and the results of elections. It was like, so long as
we know Raila will do it fine, for us.
So it's interesting how electoral disputes will be resolved in the 2027 elections, because there are always disputes. So it's very, very important. Something else that happened this year was the COP of 2025. Quite different. Like, you saw that fire, you saw indigenous people actually storm a session. In many ways, 2025 was a year of violence. No, we are not waiting anymore. It's this inalipuka na inaenda kabisa. And again, I think 2025 was to serve reminders that we can't be comfortable. You can't be comfortable with something. You know what you're saying? One source of income, or comfortable that, now when you get to the NGO space, you can be comfortable and you can run, or when entrepreneurs and the tech space, again, by the way, tech companies and organizations are really affected by this USAID funding cuts. A lot. So, there's no place to be so comfortable that you're not learning things. You're not taking up space in different new spaces. Everybody needs to be on the move, and we need to, find time to grow ourselves and build ourselves.
Actually, two things that I just wanted to mention. The way you said that people are still going to Raila's grave. I mean, on X, there's someone who said, you wait till December because people go to Ushago. Western Yote,
home.
They'll be there.
Yeah, that tells
I pity now his wife because, I mean, there's always, but she said that she likes the visitors.
She said she did.
Yeah, I think it's a reminder of a true testament of who her husband was.
Yeah.
And I guess sometimes we forget that these people are just people. Like, this is just a husband, a father, a grandfather.
Right?
Yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And when you were talking just about the 2025 changes, now switching on to something else, Trump issued a statement during Thanksgiving week. And, the way we are talking about Africa, what are we doing for ourselves as a continent? It was just interesting when I read through that statement, because one of the things that he was saying is that the US is going to pause on all migration visas for now, which I think means the green cards and so on and so forth, as they do an audit. I guess first they want to see who's there illegally and deal with that first. But I think when you just go and read that statement and tie to all these conversations we've been having about, Africa doing things for itself, for themselves, but also even outside of that, the opportunities that are there, or the opportunities that we used to see, they're growing less and less. And that gives more of the reason for us to be more alert and make sure that we have the Kenya that we want. For example, things like jobs, the way people would say, tutenda maju or tutajaribu maju. Now it's not going to be that easy, because if the US decides that, the ripple effect on all other countries, we never know what that would look like. I mean, we never thought that USAID would close down ever in this life. So at this point, we never know what anything could be. So the opportunities that we thought were accessible, perhaps to us as Africans in the global north, might actually drastically reduce, of which they already have. Even getting visas is already like so tricky. I mean, it's just all these things just to show the way you've mentioned. We just need to place our needs at the core and do what we need to do.
And African countries also have to think about the value that we give to these countries, and perhaps also review our conditions or preconditions for you entering our countries. If you're coming to work in Kenya, how much do you pay to learn a language? Because if you're serving Kenyans, then you need to learn Kiswahili. When I was going to the UK, one of the requirements was that you learn English. And we've studied English since I was in nursery school. Literally, we would be punished for speaking Swahili or mixing Swahili and English. For not speaking fluent English. And yet, when you have to go study in the UK, you still have to pay for English test, and they earn that money. What happens to the expats who come to work in our country? UN is opening office very soon in Kenya. How much will we earn from these countries? Because we will be hosts. Are there any additional expenses that they have to pay? And our country benefits, just like we benefit from them. Their working visa, will they be visitor visas? How long are the visitor visas? How long are the work permits? And how much do we gain from that? It can't just be that we are the only ones that are subject to the fact that they're giving too much to us. We also need to show and document very clearly. And at the end of the day, it goes back to the quality of leaders that we elect, the quality of leaders because Parliament is in charge of oversighting who becomes a high commissioner, for instance. So if it's just a political appointee who is not able to negotiate on behalf of the country and even provide advisory to the sitting president to say, in this part of foreign affairs, this is what we need to do to gain more, just as they are gaining from us, then that becomes a problem. So whether we like it or not, we have to start interrogating what's happening. And it begins with that person that you cast a vote for at county assembly, at the National Assembly, and it boils upwards to the president. So we need to gain more from these countries. The AU needs to step up and wake up. It's it's not just a matter of rubber stamping what has happened, and we know that it's violated systems and processes, but nothing about talking for Africa. The Africa Climate Summit was largely funded by non-African entities. So we are so far from decolonizing ourselves. Yet we need to, be more independent and have more autonomy in deciding some of it. So that when the US, the UK, the EU speak about regulations on migration, then we have our systems and we have our homes and we are happy to stay home. Not them saying, and then now we all go into panic mode, because I know so many people have gone into panic mode. So we need to sort our house and clean up our house.
Wow. Okay. That was a year.
Yeah,
And we barely touched on
yeah,
what
yeah.
it's been. But maybe as we conclude this episode, what's the one thing that you'd love to say, about the year? Maybe something fun that you enjoyed, just something on a lighter note, because we don't want to leave it on that note.
I honestly, I enjoyed a couple, like I was saying, from quarter one, when I started to be very intentional about things in life. I made sure that every travel opportunity I had for work or for myself, if it was for myself, I was having a great time, but also for work, like extending, I'll arrive one day before my work meetings, and then I will leave maybe a day later or two, extend and just get to see how do the people talk in this country. What do they eat? How do they have fun? How do they build community? And that to me has made me learn so much. I learned a lot about the Botswana. Apparently, you don't say Botswanans. It's the Botswana.
Yeah.
And I went learning about their history and, ate their local food. Yeah, so that has really made me a better person, and I'm more appreciative of other people's culture. By the way, when Raul passed, Adele Onyango was doing that breakdown of the Luo culture and all that. Cukes were being told, it's not just you guys who die and marry. You need to learn other people's culture. And I loved it. I honestly loved it. We need to start appreciating that not everything is done in the way that we do in our community. And the patriarchy has actually made us think that there's only one way of doing things. So at the end of the day, it's the people that have made my year so amazing. Including going through a hard season of our family, about my grandmother. It's been people really that have held us so strong. And it's been an amazing time, and we thank God. You?
Okay. I love that. I mean, for me, believe it or not, I also had some reflections around travel, but I think to sum it all up, it's been this year I've had a lot of fun. Yeah. Honestly, I've had a lot of fun with the people around me. Similar to you, for me, one of my policies has always been figure out how to have fun every time you travel. Yeah. And that started for me because I realized work-wise, I get so many opportunities to travel. But then sometimes I come back and I can't even tell you about the place because it was like I arrived, got either into a meeting, a conference, went to do what I was doing there for work, and then either left immediately. The cycle continues because you're leaving to go somewhere else. You're leaving because, if I don't go home and sleep for that 1 week, the cycle will continue and I'll just be burnt out. So I started also making sure of course, that I spend a lot of time just having fun. And I think I started that like 2 years ago. I was like, I have to make sure in some ways I have fun. And I'm telling you, I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with my colleagues, like the colleague that I work with here in Kenya. Every trip we have taken together, we come back home being like, wow, that was like amazing because we've done so much work-wise. We've achieved so much. We've just had fun together. We've explored. We've made new experiences. We've rested, whatever. We just come home feeling like that was so worth it. And I think that was good for me because, like, for example, this year when I went to New York, like, for me, New York, it used to be like, in, out. But like this time I told myself I'm staying 5 extra days and I will make sure that I conquer that city, that subway. It will call my name. I will get lost until I get it. Yeah. But honestly, I met so many good people. There's a lot of the humanity is important. And I think right now our world is very capitalistic that we forget the humanity of it all and we forget the joy in meeting people because we're living in a lot of fear. I mean, I'm a Black young woman who, for example, was traveling in, you expect racism, you expect whatever. So you already go there anxious. But then there's, you meet people and you're like, oh my God, wow. Yeah. So in as much as there's a lot that is happening, there's also good people. And, I saw more and more of that. I also really enjoyed spending time with my friends. And that was very important for me. Being present for baby showers, being present for birthdays, remembering my friends, them knowing that, we having 1 hour calls, laughing. Honestly, those have made like such good highlights for me this year. Yeah. And, it's something that I'm looking forward to experiencing more and more. Yeah. We've not talked about this podcast. I was
gonna say that. Yes.
Which has also been, it's also been like
space,
a very good highlight. I mean, everyone here that
Thank
we're working
you guys.
with.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you've all shown up for us. So asanteni.
We love you guys. We really do. And we appreciate working with you, including those who are not here. Our makeup artist, George. We're going to have some place to say thank you. But it wouldn't have been possible without the production team, the team cooking for us, even
the ones who've given us the space to host.
Exactly.
Maybe one day you'll get to know them.
And also the strategy lady, friend of ours. And even our friends who've urged us on and who've told us, yes, we've subscribed. Others even subscribed without seeing the first episode out. Our parents who keep praying for us. We really love you guys, and we are so happy. You made our 2025 successful. Despite the challenges, we emerged so successful because of you, and we are so grateful for you. Cheers to us for starting this, and
cheers to 2025.
Cheers to
Actually, next time, even if tuta cheers na glass iko na maji, we need to. The number of times please, no, that's where I draw the line. Surely, hata heruniambia strong tea.
Thank you for that speech.
No, thank you, please.
You don't get that thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
hey, for once you know something better than me.
You don't know that speech when Umar was giving his speech during Rao's service.
I can't remember that.
Wow, George, she missed it.
Okay, I missed it.
I'm using that.
I know. You put out.
Hey, so.
Anyway,
thank
you everyone. This is the last episode of the year. Imagine this one is still laughing. Where focus? Come on. Anyway, please. This is the last episode of the year, so thank you guys for being with us since June when we started this podcast. What do we say to conclude the year? Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
See you in 2026.
See you on the other side, by the way, in 2026. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.